Today, Intel may have lied. Cheaper GPUs, the absolute monster CPU, it's actually happening and AMD's giving up on gaming GPUs. Welcome everyone to Gamer Melt. First up for today, Intel's Raptor Lake refresh is right around the corner, and because of that, benchmarks have been leaking out over the last couple weeks. We got a release date, I believe, just in my last video, and now it looks like we're getting pricing. As you can see right here, this is actually a Canadian website that's already listed their upcoming CPUs. You can see we have the 14,900KF, the 900K, 4700K or 14,700KF, and so on. Well, as Tom's Hardware mentioned, it looks like they have at least slightly increased prices. Now, I will say that a lot of times when we see retailers like this list products early, what they'll end up doing is tacking on like a really big price premium just so they can kind of have them there. They won't actually be the actual price, but I will actually say that this time, because it's so close not only to release, but also it's so close to the last gen prices, it feels more like this really might be accurate. As you can see down here, we have the 14,900K went from, so the 13,900K was $808.99 and that went to $833.99. Then we have the KF 775 to $795. So this isn't a massive price jump. A lot of times when we see this on retailers early, they'll have these just outlandish prices, and that typically means, okay, this is just a placeholder. They're just throwing something there, or maybe they're trying to do pre-orders early before they actually have the parts, things like that. But such a seemingly exact price and one that's so close to the last gen price, it sort of makes me think that this may actually be it. To top it off, if this is right, don't forget that a little while back, there were actually rumors of Intel increasing their CPU prices. Now, I will say that it isn't anywhere near as much as what they said, but as you can see here, Intel shut down those rumors. They claim that those were not true. So if this does end up being true, well, that seems like a lie. And next up for today, I actually have some good news when it comes to price. As you can see right here, it states Nvidia's RTX 4070 card just dropped to $549. You can see these are a couple of the cards, $549.99, $549.99. This one is actually a 15% drop, while this one is obviously just 8%. But when it comes to the actual launch price, the price that the cards would start at, it was $599. So this is 8% under MSRP. And of course, this is because of one thing, and that is the 7800 XT. Don't forget that while it is an 8 card, the 7800 XT was built to go against the RTX 4070. And at least from what we've seen, it does really well. It beats it in a lot of benchmarks, and yet it's $100 cheaper. Simply put, they were forced to lower the price. And once again, I know I kind of say this all the time, but I really think this is important. A lot of people are really big fanboys. They love their particular brand, but even if you do love a certain brand, you should want the competing brand to do just as well. Because if they don't, the brand you love is going to go up in price. And if they do, it'll go down in price. But not only that, it'll force them to make their products even better. So even if you hate AMD, you should really want them to do well, or vice versa. If you hate Nvidia, you should want them to do well. Basically, competition is good. Oh, and if you're interested in picking one of these up, I will have affiliate links down in the description below. They don't cost you anything more, and it helps the channel out. And next up, it looks like AMD is gearing up to release an absolute monster CPU. Actually, we're talking about a full CPU series in Threadripper 7000. This right here, though, is set to be the biggest model. There's actually a couple that are over here, but we're really going to focus on the 7995WX. As you can see here, this is a size software benchmark, and this is the 7995WX, and it's a 96-core monster. If you haven't been really keeping up with AMD's Threadripper lineup of CPUs, you may not know that their last gen parts only got up to 64 cores. And obviously going from 5000 to 7000 series CPUs for the regular Ryzen parts, we know that those cores didn't increase. But AMD has a really big surprise in that their Threadripper 7000 parts are going up. Not only that, but if you check it out right here, you can see that in this benchmark, the single core score got all the way up to 5.14 gigahertz. So we're talking that these bad boys should be able to get above 5 gigahertz with 96 cores. Now, obviously, this is a single core benchmark, so it's not like those cores are really doing all that much, but honestly, I have to say that that's still pretty impressive. And next up for today, I have some great news for anyone who's been playing Starfield. More specifically, if you've been playing on Nvidia GPUs. As you can see down here, Bethesda Game Studios actually tweeted this out first. They give a big thank you to everyone for their support, but then it ends up going to discuss an update. It says this first update is a small hotfix targeted at the few top issues we are seeing. After that, expect a regular interval of updates that have top community requested features, including, so right now the first update, just a small hotfix that effectively targets major issues that they've been seeing, but then they're going to be adding features. As you can see, it says brightness and contrast controls, HDR calibration menu, FOV slider, and Nvidia DLSS support. Basically, there you have it. Officially from Bethesda Game Studios, they are in fact going to be adding Nvidia DLSS. Of course, if you follow this channel, you already know that you can get DLSS support on the game via a mod, but this would be it officially getting support. And if you love learning about stuff like this with PC hardware, make sure you subscribe to GamerMeld. And I will actually say that this is really interesting just because a lot of times when we see games that support FSR first, don't have DLSS on launch, a lot of times they never get it. And that's likely because they have no big incentive to, just because FSR supports both AMD and Nvidia GPUs. But this time there has been a lot of backlash, and I just say if you own an Nvidia GPU and you want DLSS games on these FSR games, you're gonna have to push probably really hard, just because once again, FSR works on both AMD and Nvidia, but we definitely have seen a ton of instances where DLSS is quite a bit better than FSR. You're probably just gonna have to push, and at least in this case, it looks like that worked. And lastly for today, I've talked about this first part once already, when the rumors first started happening that basically AMD's next-gen GPUs are just going to be more like mid to low-end cards. Think the RX 580, RX 480 series, those never really had higher-end GPUs to compete with Nvidia. And at least according to these rumors, it looks like that may end up happening yet again. And at least according to these rumors, it looks like that's going to end up happening yet again. But it actually gets worse. According to this new one from Bits and Chips, you can see that it says AMD will sacrifice next Radeon gaming GPUs RX 8000 output at TSMC in order to pump up FPGA and GPU production. Basically, what this is saying is that obviously AMD has a limited production that they can do with TSMC, and because of that, they're effectively not releasing higher end RX 8000 GPUs and instead are going to focus on AI. Of course, we've actually just heard in my last video something very similar with Nvidia, that it's effectively one of the reasons, or potentially the reason, why their GPUs do so poorly in Starfield. Nvidia is pulling resources that would have gone to making gaming GPUs better for drivers, things like that, and putting them to AI. And as you can see here, it looks like AMD's about to do the same, except even worse because they're apparently going to get rid of their higher end RX 8000 GPUs. And all I can say is, I don't know, this is frustrating. Seems like gamers have been just getting hit in the head left and right. We finally got past all of the crypto stuff, the GPU shortages. GPUs are actually somewhat reasonable now, at least nothing how they were before. And now it seems like AI is doing exactly what crypto did. Yes, they aren't really purchasing all the GPUs like crypto did, just because the GPUs you use for AI are different, although we've already seen the fact that at least some companies, when there aren't AI GPUs, they will turn to gaming GPUs, so this could end up happening yet again, but This time it seems even worse because it's incentivizing AMD and Nvidia to effectively not even focus on gaming GPUs anymore. So yeah, it's just frustrating, really frustrating. But anyway, while that does it for today, I do hope you liked the video, but let me know what you think about the fact that AMD could be getting rid of their higher end 8000 cards for AI. Let me know about that down in the description below. And if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and as always, have a great day.